Hi, my name's Alex Stock. I'm with EY Studio Plus. I lead our innovation, design, and digital product business. And I'm here in Cannes with Rob Master, who's the CMO of Edgewell Personal Brands. Rob, it's great to be here. How's Cannes going?
So far, so good. Really enjoying the connections, the convergence of like what I love about Cannes is the convergence of everything taking place at once here: creative, media, marketing more broadly, tech. So far, it's great.
And are you staying cool? We're breaking record temperatures
Yeah,
here.
no,
with
it
the
is
heat in
hot.
France.
I brought shorts. I haven't put them on yet, but I'm not afraid to go shorts.
Amazing. All right, very good. You're smarter than I am. I'm pants only, which was a mistake. Look, you're in a number of really interesting categories. Personal care business is obviously a business that is a sort of commoditized product to some extent. There's a lot of interchangeability of those brands. What makes brands matter in that space?
So I think, it's interesting. There's been like a movement, which I think we're seeing a shift from in the last couple of years, but it was a movement to go with like the bottom of the funnel. Like we were actually just commoditizing our business. And I think it was this race to the bottom with like buy now and performance-based and optimizing to every click. And I think we've seen over and over again with a number of brands who followed that path, they lost consumers. And so I think brands still matter in people's lives. Like I'm not going to overstate, but people trust brands. And I think instilling that trust by building on that equity year on year with consistency, I think matters. And I think leveraging the buy now button and like how we show up in the search button, I think is helpful for part of the business. But brands matter. It's why when I go to New York City, which is like one of the greatest cities for restaurants in the world,
Here.
And you go and you walk by an Olive Garden, it is packed in Times Square. Or Chili's, it's packed. People know those brands. They love those brands. And even though you're in New York City, it's like these are brands you know and trust, and that's built over time. McDonald's, obviously, there's so many great examples of that.
Yeah.
And I think for a while we were not investing in brands and connecting with people, and you saw the impact of that. And I think we're seeing a bit of a resurgence now in investing in brands and the equities that they have.
Yeah. You have a number of iconic brands in the portfolio: Schick, Banana Boat, Hawaiian Tropic. Yeah. I know you've recently breathed some new life into Banana Boat specifically. Yeah. Here on the Cosset, everyone's talking about how to take an iconic legacy brand and make it relevant to new generations or to new technologies. Can you talk about your experience and what you've learned from some of the work you've done with some of your brands?
Yeah. So maybe we start that with a little bit of a frame of like what we've done as an organization, Edgewell. We have two sets of brands. We have these like iconic brands, like you said, Schick, Hawaiian Tropic, Banana Boat, Wet Ones, who've been around for, in some cases like Schick, 100 years, but Banana Boat, 50 years, amazing brands. At the same time, we have these, what I call emerging brands who are trying to scale, brands like Cremo, Billy, Jack Black. And so we have this perfect like cocktail of brands that allows us to kind of think about how we bring them to life. So if I think about brands like Hawaiian Tropic, some of these iconic brands, you're right, we're looking to breathe new life into them. And in large part, it is by reimagining how the next generation thinks about them. So my favorite examples is Hawaiian Tropic, which has been around for like since the 70s. It was discovered by a chemistry teacher, almost like out of Breaking Bad, in like a garbage pail. And like he brought to life this amazing brand of Hawaiian Tropic. And for generations, it served as like the scent of summer, the view of summer. And I think over the course of maybe the last 10 years, I think kind of lost its way a little bit. Under new leadership, we brought it back with the help of like rethinking from like a social perspective and the ultimate social influencer in Alex Earl. And so we've done like really kind of breakthrough thinking and campaigns where we bring Alex Earl into the fold, who has helped us like reimagine what Hawaiian Tropic stands for this generation, because the scent is still the same. Like the heritage of like looking your best self and the glow, power of the sun. And so we've done some really like provocative, but like really like on target communication that's like totally rejuvenated that brand. In fact, last year, we were the fastest growing brand among Gen Zs.
Wow.
So this is like an older brand who's like now a newer brand, again, just for a different generation.
Yep.
And I think we've done that through like really critical thinking about understanding our audience, understanding like the power of the brand, its history, and how we bring that history back for a new generation. And so that's a great example. The other one is Schick. So Schick has been around for 100 years. And so the category of shaving has always been about the number of blades you have, the 5-blade, the 3-blade. hey, we have a factory in Germany, which is like such precision.
Right.
And so we actually rethink that with Schick. We've totally thought it to say, hey, actually shaving equals skincare. It's like your first step in actually skincare. It's like what you do to your face. You're putting a blade on your face or on your legs for women, or your armpits, like, or men now in their back, like all over. And so that is actually how your skin shows up. So we've really been leaning into like some of the amazing ingredients that are in our razors, like touches of aloe and all. So we've gone and like really rethought and disrupted the category of its existing mindset. And we brought in someone like Nick Jonas, who's again a younger, fresher face to help us rethink, again, the very kind of community-based, social thinking way. That's not the traditional way to approach brand marketing.
I love the idea of influencers and messaging. How about digital AI? How are you winning at the shelf in light of these new technologies and ways of thinking about the channel?
Yeah, so we certainly are looking and leaning into a number of kind of like external partners as we build our own capabilities in-house around AI. And so whether it be like using third-party tools to evaluate how we're showing up on the digital shelf, what is the optimal descriptions, what is the optimal search areas we should be focusing on, and we're constantly iterating and looking at using AI, because just a human can't absorb all information. What are people responding to? What are they searching for? And we're using that to actually rethink everything from our descriptions to our images to like what keywords we're bidding on. And so that's just like a bit of the scratch of the surface. Of course, as we think about AI now and taking images that we shoot and then adjusting those images in a much more efficient and effective way. Like there's no shortage or even like end at this point to where you can leverage digital AI tools in whether it's like the creative and thinking process to bring that to life, or just like the automation of things that like we're so human and in some cases laborious, and now are making us move much faster. So it's interesting. Again, AI is part of the story. This is maybe part of the team and the fact of how we operate. But we launched a campaign with Nick Jonas. We shot with Nick Jonas on President's Day, and we were on air in April.
Wow.
With like a major celebrity and an unbelievable campaign that was like reinventing the category. And we shot February and mid-February, and we were on air in April. And so it's certainly, as we think about like the tools we're using to allow us to be much more efficient and in this case effective.
Yeah, that's great. I also presume that there have been some experiments that maybe haven't gone as well, where you've had some learnings. You shared a great anecdote this morning that I heard. I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing that one again here.
Yes. So I think we're very much about innovating. We're a challenger set of brands. So we operate in a world with some giants. And so we very much are leaning into trying new things and innovating. And so in many cases, we're leaning into different things in the AI space. So we worked with a major media platform who had this new AI media optimizing tool. And so we have a brand, one of our kind of emerging brands called Billy, and it targets women 18 to 24 for shaving. And so we were very clear with who our target is. And a week plus into the campaign, we're seeing that it's optimizing to men 50 plus. And so there's a host of things you could say about that on the internet. That's like, I'm not going to go there, but just the fundamentals of like 18 to 24-year-old women's shave product is being optimized to men 50 plus. And I think what was most concerning wasn't that like, hey, we're testing, we're learning. But the reaction to the media platform of this bringing this to their attention, one is they didn't bring it to our attention. So like they're hands-on. They know exactly how things are optimizing. They're tracking this. And they were just letting it run. We had to intervene. Of course, that's part of our job. Right. But you would think like, hey, you're leveraging AI. It's a new tool. You should be testing. Hey, is this working against the objective the client set out? But what was most concerning was the flippant reaction they gave us, which was like, hey, this is how it works. We're just testing, and like there's no make good. Like, at one point they're like 50-year-old men buy razors too, women's razors too. It was like, that was the most concerning to me, is that the lack of accountability and responsibility they're taking for their own AI tools. That is something I think that we as marketers and frankly as society need to be much more hands-on to what's taking place that's being done to us. And I think that just to me was a great example of like, and this is, by the way, was not a startup. This is the most established media platform in the world. And I think the lack of accountability and responsibility is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're making the case certainly for this need for human oversight, for creativity as a part of the process always, right? I don't think that's ever going to be completely outsourced to a tool or a technology.
Yeah.
There's always going to be this need for what you do, what your teams do to sort of make sure it lands in the way that it's supposed to land.
Yeah. I mean, today, and listen, I don't know what the future is like. I don't think we've grasped the power of some of these AI technologies. So today, our policy is nothing that we use for AI goes out without a human eye.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, we're churning out a ton of content. But listen, that is our policy today and probably for the foreseeable future. But I don't know what it's going to be like in a couple of years. Like these tools and their ability to actually like spot things that frankly a human eye wouldn't, like, are coming. So but I think today we need to be much more hands-on. And I think we think about AI historically as a tool to, I think it's going to a place where it's actually going to be a tool to help us pursue our goals. I think actually it's going to start like shaping our goals in the near future.
Well, I love this because we're leaning into the future a bit here, and that's great. I think we can maybe get one more question in here, and this may be the one that we wrap with. But when you look 2 or 3 years out at CPG brands that have won versus those that haven't, what differentiated them? What did they do right, maybe starting now, that got them that differentiation 3, 4, 5 years out, whatever that is?
I think I still go back to like, and I think AI is going to help in this, but ultimately a powerful consumer insight yields powerful creative ideas that allow you just to scale them across platforms. I think we're in situations where people are racing to the bottom of the funnel, or we're racing to this idea that, hey, there's this new platform and we're just going to let the platform be our messenger.
Mm-hmm.
But consumers sniff that out, and consumers have perspectives, and our ability as marketers to understand those insights and deliver campaigns and products on those insights, I still think for the foreseeable future are really what's going to win for brands. And so how brands use AI to get better insights, better understand their audience, better develop campaigns, better develop products are going to win. But ultimately, I think it's the consumer still that sits at the center, and understanding that consumer is going to differentiate who wins and who doesn't.
Yeah, and maybe just one last kind of build on question. Given the uniqueness of where your products are sold, whether that's online, an Amazon, or at a retail location, brick and mortar, or something in between, right? Some e-commerce site run by a brick and mortar brand, retailer brand. How does that affect kind of the win-loss idea in the future? Like, who's doing right by the trade?
So I think, listen, Amazon has built an unbelievable business model that combines the ability to order a product and get it almost instantaneously. I think the other retailers like Walmart, Target are, I think what's interesting, they initially tried following suit in that space.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they've done now is pivot to probably their biggest strength, which is their real life footprints.
The neighborhood reach.
The neighborhood reach. And the ability, frankly, to have their stores as distribution centers. And I think the idea of like Walmart or Target, all these guys building distribution centers is costly endeavor. It's logistics experience.
And they're late.
And they're late. And I think their ability to pivot now to say, actually, there's a Walmart within 90% of America. Like, we should be 10 miles. So we should be using that as our logistics center. And by the way, it also creates an experience where people can come to the store still, see the products. It is the best of both worlds. Yeah. So I think it's interesting how some of those players compete with Amazon, but just using a different model. I think the idea of just competing Amazon head to head is a challenge. I think they've seen that, and now they're leveraging a different strength, which is their footprints.
Yep. Rob, this has been great. Thank you so much for the time, and enjoy the festival here, and have fun back at the beach.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right.